From an Easter egg that took 6 years to find, to a hidden detail you won't believe exists, these are the most hidden Easter eggs in video games. Battlefield is known for being the king of Easter eggs, but one of them was almost impossible to uncover. The Wake Island map has a ton of crabs, which are usually just for decoration, but some players found a handful that wouldn't run away. If you track these guys down, they'll move to a plaque in the middle of the island where a set of headphones appear, and this is where things get really weird. Once they've listened to the headphones, it'll give you some coordinates in Morse code. Heading to this unknown location will grant you a vinyl record which plays more coordinates, leading you to even more records. There were so many steps involved, and all of this had to be done in just 45 minutes. A majority of players gave up, but those who found the final song were given a free concert.
Whoa!
Taking it from crabs to ducks, Dying Light 2 fans were shocked by one of its most hidden Easter eggs. Across the map, there's 5 black ducks, which seem innocent until you go to the altar room. Here you could place the ducks onto tables, and this was clearly turning into some kind of ritual. Players kept going and found some cables that could be attached, so obviously their first instinct to try to make a pentagram. Well, surprisingly, it actually worked, but instead of summoning a demon, they got the Kadoom shotgun in a secret Doom level. And while that's pretty difficult to find, there's one room in Resident Evil 2 which feels like it wasn't meant to be found at all. In the original game, you can investigate Wesker's desk, and it simply tells you that it's trashed. It says this every time you click it, and most people move on, but for some reason, anyone who searched the desk 50 times got a different result. You'd find a roll of film in the drawer, and if taken to the dark room, you'd see a photo of Rebecca in sportswear. Yeah, kinda weird. And over in Arkham Knight, anyone who's played the game will remember Man-Bat.
There we go.
Dude.
What the?
He jump scared so many people and you never saw it coming, but eventually you can catch him and lock him up in prison. Now, anytime Batman arrests someone, it's usually at the end of their story, so people relaxed and didn't have to worry about him again. Well, that's unless you play on Halloween, because on this day, you could be grappling around and suddenly... And if you go back to see if he's still in prison, the guards will say this.
No way we're gonna stop that day. That be Halloween, huh?
In GTA 5, people were so distracted by one Easter egg that they had no idea it led to another until 3 years later. Bigfoot is insanely popular with the fans, and you can spot him in the forest sometimes and even play as him with peyote. Now, this is already pretty cool, but if you do this in snowy weather between 5 and 8 a.m., a special golden peyote will spot on the map. It's already difficult to track down, but to make things worse, only one golden peyote spawns per day, so it takes a ridiculously long time to get all 7. On the final day after consuming the last one, you're rewarded with the most random boss fight against the Beast. Now, I was expecting the Beast to be a little more terrifying, but he's literally just Teen Wolf. Another movie reference that took even longer to find was in Titanfall 2, and it remained a secret for 6 years. This security door was sealed shut and no one thought otherwise until one person tried time traveling in front of it 88 times. It's a subtle Back to the Future reference, but it means you gotta do this for over a minute straight. And when the door finally opens, you'll find 2 skeletons recreating this scene from Time Cop. Spider-Man PS4 is full of details, but there's this secret homage that a ton of players overlooked. If you talk to NPCs on the street, some of them will give you quests, and this woman asks you to spy on her husband because she thinks he's up to something. Thinking nothing of it, you'll track him down and find a bank heist in the making, except these robbers seem a little familiar.
All right, Roman's ready and we are running late. Let's roll.
This is, of course, a subtle homage to GTA 4, which also takes place in New York, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't end with Spidey beating you to a pulp. Now, Tears of the Kingdom just released, but Breath of the Wild still has secrets that barely anyone's picked up on. One of these was Lurelin Village, which was only discovered near the end of their playthroughs, and they had no idea how important it was until years later. Eventually, they started to realize the similarities between Lurelin Village and the outside island from Wind Waker. Looking at the layout side by side, it's pretty undeniable, and it also makes me wonder what we'll find in another 5 years. Taking it back to 2001, there's an old jet ski game called Wave Race, and it had an Easter egg so hard to find that no one knew about it until a decade later. After leakers found mysterious MP3 files, they investigated by going into the game's audio menu and typing in a modified Konami code. What they didn't expect was for the announcer to become hostile and completely roast you non-stop.
Is that the best you can do? Weak.
Still nowhere near as insulting as the true ending of Silent Hill 2. The game has multiple endings, and you needed all of them to find this secret, so after playing through 4 whole times, you'd finally get the true story. Only for your character to walk into a room and learn that a dog has been controlling everything. Yeah, he might be adorable, but behind those eyes is a cold-blooded murderer. Although nothing compares to Metal Gear Solid 5's impossible cutscene. There was a secret that could only be unlocked if every single player agreed to disarm their nukes at the same time, and when people learned about this, they thought, yeah, good luck. Getting thousands of players to agree on something sounds impossible, but it finally happened in 2020, unlocking an 8-minute cutscene. At the end of it, the credits roll showing every person who disarmed the nuke, and I can't imagine how satisfying that must have felt. The best Easter eggs out there are the ones that involve teamwork, and there is no better place for this than COD Zombies. The goal is to survive as long as possible, but you'll have to reach an impossible round to find this secret. By using hacks, people got all the way to the round 6,000, and people quickly realized the zombies looked different. They were wearing space helmets, and their health was ridiculously high. For context, if you want to get to round 6,000, it would take over 20,000 hours, so I'm not even sure why this one exists. And while we're on the topic of zombies, you can find this soccer field in Dying Light 2, and whatever you do, make sure to score a goal. It's super satisfying, but don't stop there because scoring over and over will give you a different item each time. Definitely a nice reward, but once you get carried away, lightning strikes, revealing this terrifying guy. And just when you think you're doomed, the most unexpected twist happens. And one of my personal favorite Easter eggs is hiding in Battlefield 1's DLC. You can load into the Verdun Heights map and find these wine bottles scattered across the ground. As we've learned from the crabs, nothing is decoration. So of course destroying these along with weather vanes unlocks the secret reference. Simply look up into the sky and you'll see the house from up. That movie is all about family, and Gears of War follows the same theme with this heartwarming Easter egg. In one of the missions, there's a neon sign for chaps, and it stayed like this for 8 years. That's until someone started firing at the windows and realized the sign changed to Gab with a love heart. A very wholesome message left by the dev for a loved one. Speaking of classics, the Nintendo GameCube is over 2 decades old, but most people still don't know about its hidden startup sound. Normally, you'd boot up the console and hear this. But if you held Z while booting up, it played. And while most people thought this was the end of it, years later it was found that you could hold Z on 4 controllers to get this sound. And if by chance it's your birthday today, first of all, happy birthday. And second, you gotta open up some of your favorite games because they might just have some gifts for you. In Death Stranding, you'll get a birthday cake and some emails, but if you're a fan of Mads Mikkelsen, this is probably the greatest gift of all.
You may have forgotten, but I haven't. Happy birthday.
Gears of War 4 also has a secret on one day of the year, which is December 25th, and it unlocks after shooting 5 snowmen. Immediately, you'll hear the sound of bells ringing, and Oscar will make a grand entrance as Santa. And those were the most hidden video game Easter eggs. It's been Sammy. Keep it here on T5G.